Well, that was certainly one of the games of all time. And me and Damon are going to break it down in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. It's the AZ Wildcats post-game show.
Shut the music off, Kevin. Shut the music off. Shut the music off. We've talked about this before.
Cut the beat.
When the Wildcats lose, the music for this show just really doesn't fit the mood. You are listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am Damon Fairall. That is Kevin Thomas. He is not in studio today because he's a sick boy, and so he's working on getting healthy, getting right. And so should the Wildcats, honestly, Kevin, because that was garbage. As Arizona loses to Kansas State on the road, 73-70. I think if we had talked about it, Kevin, before the game happened and the way it played out, if I told you Arizona loses by 3 to Kansas State, you would have said, "Oh, you'll take some positives away from that. Tough place to play, hot team you're going up against." We outlined it on our preview show. They were potentially the hottest team in the country going into this game. Arizona being another one of those teams in the conversation, but just like one of the worst shooting performances you will ever see out of a Tommy Lloyd led team, out of an Arizona team with this much talent. And the Wildcats, they dropped this one by 3 points to Kansas State. But I'll tell you what, Kevin, and I'll let you give a chance to get your initial reactions in. But I'm just doing it straight off the bat. That inbounds at the end of the game was disgusting. Like I genuinely don't, and that's right, Alec. Like there's a pile of throw up actually in the beautiful Studio K presented by Circle K that I'm sure that they love their name being plastered all over what I just said. But literally piles of throw up just sitting next to me right here. It's really disgusting. But that's just the reaction that we had. Or that I had to that game. I mean, it was really that bad, Kevin. And I just go ahead and give your initial thoughts, but I want to jump straight into this inbounds with 6 seconds left.
I mean, where do I start? Like, you're not going to win a game shooting 2 for 22 from 3. That's 9% for those that can do that math. You're not going to win a game playing like that. You're not going to win a game with 17 turnovers. We were on the phone, you and I, for the last 8 minutes of this game. And I was telling you that this was a way worse version of the feeling I had before Caleb Love's shot against Iowa State, right? Just oh, really? We're going to let this one slip away? This was such a winnable game. It was on the table right there, and they just didn't grab it. And this game was a way worse version of that. Yeah. Because K-State, like we said, right? They are one of the best, hottest teams in the country. Not to be taken lightly, especially on their home floor, right? But when Coleman Hawkins, arguably their best player, when Hawkins shoots 2 for 11, Gasson fouls out, Jones only shoots 4 times, Houston has 8 points, and McDaniel carries them with 24. That's a game that you're supposed to win, and it's tough because I don't want to go too doom and gloom. I know that's what our thumbnail said, but I don't want to go too doom and gloom just because, the Houston game is on Saturday, a huge bounce back opportunity for Arizona. But man, this is a game that I felt like I was watching a tournament game and that Arizona just didn't have it. And I got really scared. Because if K-State can slow down Arizona's offense, I'm not saying K-State's bad, obviously, but I'm saying if you're going to face one of the hottest teams in the country, like you're probably going to do multiple times in a tournament setting, you have to have some sort of go-to offense. We've been talking about it all year on McHale Madness, and I was so frustrated tonight because no matter what Arizona wanted to do, they had no offense that they could easily rely on for an easy bucket. The end of the half, they had another scoring drought that you and I honestly thought maybe they got past that because we haven't talked about that in a couple games. Yeah. But Yeah, no, a very disappointing performance. And yeah, I saw some people on Twitter, and Lost Highway says it here. I think the legs were shot. Some people saying that the players were gassed and things like that.
Better find them by Saturday, man.
Yeah, like is that going to get better by the end of the year, or should we wrap it up now? Because if they're tired now, it's February 11th at 8:43 p.m. They got a month left. They got 2 months left.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a frustrating game to watch. It's not the end of the world. No one's saying that. Arizona still somewhat controls its destiny. But this was a really disappointing performance. And yeah, you just can't have those. You can't have those.
Yeah, and you can't have them if you want to win the Big 12 championship, right? Because and I think up to this point, Arizona's done a great job of avoiding the kind of the trap game. And I know we talked about Kansas State, and they're a little bit better than their record probably suggests right now. But I think at the end of the day, it is what you would call "quote unquote" a trap game. Like they're one of the middle teams in the pack in the conference. Arizona was tied for first place going into this week. It didn't. That was just a not the performance you want to see. As to your point, like you read down the box score, and all of Kansas State's best players, except for one guy, were fairly neutralized, and it didn't matter because Arizona's offense was that putrid.
It was.
We've seen that before, Kevin. Like that is what I think the downfall of this team will be if it ultimately comes to that in March, late in March, because I don't worry about the defense. I think this defense. And we'll go into this more. We'll deep dive on this a little bit more, Kevin. But I'll go as far to say that I think this is like the best defense by a landslide in the Tommy Lloyd era. That being said, it comes with a little bit of the other side of it, the counteraction there, and that's sometimes you don't always have the best free flowing offense at all times. And you saw that tonight with the 3-point shooting from Arizona tonight, the 3-point shooting as well from Kansas State. It really was just a bad shooting night in general from both teams. But this offense, man, you're right. Like it's going to be the reason that like if we look back and there's like a bad tournament loss or something, it's going to be because the offense.
Caleb Love went cold. KJ Lewis shot 1 for 8. Jaden Bradley had a couple bad turnovers. You're right.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I was just interrupting. But
no, you're good. Like that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a culmination of all the guys just not hitting, except for Jaden Bradley, because night in, night out. The dude didn't shoot incredible tonight, but he brings it. We know
really
that.
Bad passes from Jaden Bradley. I'm not trying to be too hard on him tonight because everyone had those kind of passes.
Yeah, they
did. I brought it up to you on the phone. There were some really lazy passes at the top of the key that you can't have that. You like the guy who steals the ball from KJ at the end of the game, best player of his career. Cannot let that happen. Like I don't know.
Every player on this team felt sloppy tonight. Like think about Henry Vasar, and like you look at his stats in the box score, he had a good game, but that tip out was extremely, extremely monumental in this turning point for Kansas State there. Arizona needs points there, and he just out of bounds. He had another play earlier. I'm not remembering the specifics of it, but I do remember I think it was an offensive board that it really felt like he had in his hands and then got stripped out of his hands by a Kansas State player. Just like it felt like everybody was fairly sloppy tonight. And it's the reason that it leads to a 3-point loss. It's again, like you said, like Arizona's gonna be fine. You mentioned that off the bat, and I think that bears noting because Arizona fans freak out after every loss, and us included, right, Kevin? Because both of us are pretty damn upset with how this one played out. But at the end of the day, yes, their perspective needs to be had. But I think tonight and this show is about what happened in this game, and frankly, it was horrible to watch.
Yeah, and I do, before we get back into some suffering, I do want to go for some silver linings here. Our guy Saul says in the chat, K-State cooked Iowa State. They dominated Kansas. This game was neither of those. Yeah. And Saul's right. And I think that is, true. If you're going to take an actual evaluation of Arizona after this game, I don't think that you should change how you have Arizona, finishing the year based on this one game. But if you are going to try to do that, played better than Iowa State did, played better than Kansas did. Arizona is still one of the best teams in the country. Literally walked into a buzzsaw with Kansas State. And probably should have came out the other side. But like you said, like I said, the world's not ending, sky's not falling, Chicken Little, and everything's going to be okay. But it definitely, that like you said, this is a tough one to swallow, tough pill to swallow, because the game was right there to be had for long stretches of this game. Arizona, should we start with the first half? because Arizona up 7. I believe.
Yeah.
I would have to go back and check my notes, but I believe they were up 7 when Carter Bryant's goaltending was taken off the board for K-State.
Yep.
K-State then goes on a 7-0 run. Might have even been 11-1 run.
It was, yeah.
And that's how they ended the half. And I don't know how that galvanized them the way that it did. But once that goaltend was taken off the board, the defensive tenacity ramped up. They were trapping every screen and roll almost. I don't know if everyone in the chat saw the same thing, but I saw a lot of aggressive ball trapping on the pick and rolls, because that's kind of what Arizona's offense is predicated on, right? That high screen and roll with Vasar and Bradley and Love. And I do want to get into this because it was part of the second half, but I liked the high-low with Vasar and Awaka. I really did. They couldn't go to it too often because you're playing from behind, right? But I don't know. The offense in the first half was just for both sides, right? Especially in the last, I don't know how many minutes that was, 3.5 minutes of the first half. Arizona just couldn't find its go-to when it needed it, and it was tough to watch, because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Arizona's up 7 before the end of the half. They're about to go into this half with the lead. Arizona does well going into the half with the lead, and let's see how we can close out in the second half. And then that run happens, and I saw a stat on Twitter, I think it was from Brian Peterson, Arizona's now 0-6 this season when trailing at half. And even after I saw that stat, I was thinking, you know what? This is a game that Arizona is still in. A lot of people on Twitter kind of catastrophically reacting to the first half and the early part of the second half. I felt like it wasn't as sky is falling as everyone else did. Arizona had a chance to win this game for every moment, literally until the last shot. And it was a disappointing game, but let's not get too out over our skis over some bad halves. But what were your thoughts on that first half, Damon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sequence there that you highlighted was for sure the kind of what changed the game, what flipped it on its head, right? Because as you mentioned, Arizona has about a 7-point lead. I think it was 7 to 29-22, I believe.
It was.
And,
you're right.
Yeah, and Carter Bryant gets, it was a bad call, by the way. And I thought there were some bad calls that went against us tonight as well. But that in particular was a bad call against Kansas State on that goaltending. And it really seemed to have galvanized them, right? Because ever since that moment, they came out with a different fire. You're right about the defensive intensity ramping up. They're getting hyped after every play, losing their mind, like the crowd's getting back into it. It really felt like that was like the turning point of the game. And prior to that, Kevin, when I was laughing at the TV because of the refs basically just taking 2 points off of Kansas State's score, when Coleman Hawkins was right there for a putback, so he could have easily just laid that back in if it was a live ball, but they reviewed it after the fact. And so I'm sitting there laughing, and all of a sudden, I didn't realize that it was going to be the thing that changed the game. I thought that Arizona having a 7-point lead there was giving us the opportunity to go on a 6-0 run, break it open to 13, put the game in the dirt before halftime is even over. But that's just not, unfortunately, what happened tonight. And that 13-0 run to end the half, that's what it was, basketball and football guy. I mean, that's what changed the game. Because after that moment, Arizona was chasing Kansas State for the rest of the remainder of the game, trying to kind of, make it. But they did take the lead at one point. Kansas State got it back fairly quickly. But yeah, man, just not overall, not the performance you want to see from a team that is contending for the Big 12. You make it really tough on yourself now, as we mentioned, going into that Houston game where you basically got to win or else your chances are frankly pretty close to over. I don't know that a lot of people were expecting a Big 12 championship, even being in first place, but it obviously hurts to see that, slip from your fingertips if that's indeed what is happening. They still got a chance to make up for it, but this one was a big one. And it was unfortunate. I think that first half, the way that first half ended was really kind of, I think, a good, kind of culmination of how the game went in general, or just how things weren't really going Arizona's way tonight.
Yeah, I think you kind of brought it up. It's an encapsulation. This entire game was when Arizona's offense is not working, that's what it looks like. And they just never they couldn't find their stride at any point in this game. It felt like Bridge Tech Communications in the chat brings up something that I was noticing throughout this game, that they were very indecisive from the mid-range. And players that usually eat up in the mid-range, like Jaden Bradley and Caleb Love. It felt like the intensity of the defense, and I'm not trying to get in their head here, but I'm saying just the way it looked, it made it seem like the intensity of the defense had them kind of gun shy in the mid-range, where even if they're open, they're worried that some guy's going to come from through behind and try to tip the ball out or something like that. And it was – I was kind of confused, to be quite honest with you, because it felt like, okay, the threes are not falling. I even tweeted this, like, why is Arizona still shooting early shot clock threes? Like, you have to work it into the paint. I think they had 29 points, and I think 20 of them came in the paint, right? And so going away from what was working in lieu of something that both teams could not do, shooting the three, just blew my mind. On the road, it's not about getting the crowd on fire or silencing the crowd with a three. You just got to get offense. You just got to get buckets, and the crowd will silence themselves over time. And I think, I don't know what was up with the shot selection, but it's kind of a topic we've talked about all season with shot selection with Arizona. And yeah, Damon, the offense in this game, not good enough. And something else I had told you on the phone pre-show was, if Arizona walked into the Little Apple, the Octagon of Doom, and they lost, right? But it just felt like, a tough road game, tough road environment. K-State was the better squad.
Yeah.
Arizona just didn't have it. We'll see y'all on Saturday versus Houston. That's not how this felt at all. This felt like, okay, Arizona's the better team. They have almost all the better players. They should get this W. I'm not trying to simplify it too deep because, again, K-State is a good team, well coached. But this was a game that was so unbelievably winnable. And I hope Tommy Lloyd, not a guy to lose back-to-back games, I hope that this was kind of I'll say a wake-up call for the offense and for the coaching staff of kind of like, I'm not saying the coaching staff feels this way, but when you're coaching guys on a win streak that have overcome huge obstacles already this season, maybe there's a little bit of okay, we're going to go into K-State and do our thing. You know what I mean? Not like they overlooked them, but maybe they just kind of felt like, we're going to win this one. We're going to go in there and take this one. And they didn't. And yeah,
I don't even know if I'd go as far to say that I don't think that they really overlooked them. I think this is just when this team loses, that's how it's going to look. It's going to be, and I know he had a good end to the second half and whatnot, and his stats ended up looking good, but there was a portion of this game where KJ Lewis couldn't hit a shot. Caleb Love certainly couldn't hit a shot. And Carter Bryant also was contributing to that at a lesser clip than those two. But when all three of, your wings per se, and I'll throw Caleb Love into that group because he's not like the point guard of this team. He's kind of an off-ball guard type of guy. When your wing play is going to be that, and ADO is not really providing anything or any substance off the bench, or he's in the starting lineup, but it feels like he's off the bench sometimes. Like the combo of those four is like not scoring anything is just like, it's gonna crush you every time that happens. And yeah, I mean, it was just kind of, it felt like just too many guys were just missing too many good looks tonight. And I honestly liked a lot of the looks. Like, I know people get mad at Caleb Love a lot, but like, he's getting open threes, and I know I know you were saying you want to go away from the three, but that's not who Caleb Love is as a player. I honestly people feel free to disagree with me, but I would prefer Caleb Love continues to play like he's actually hitting shots instead of being timid and trying to pass the ball away. And because I think that hurts Arizona more than it helps Arizona. Where
is it that I do want to interject just like so I can understand your point better. Would it really be him being timid, or would it just be him trying to find something that's working to get his shot going? Right? Like, it doesn't have to be like he's timid. He can still be aggressive and get downhill and get a bucket, and maybe that will kickstart his shot.
So pass up open threes, you think?
I mean,
I mean, you can say it. Feel free to
honestly, yeah. He was 0 for 7, Damon, dog. Like, it just like, and I know he was 1 for 11 before the shot, or 1 for 10, or 0 for whatever it was against Iowa State. But it's just like, on the road, it's not that we necessarily need those. You just got to get buckets. And if the shot's not falling, sometimes you got to get it going.
Did you see that paint though? Like the paint was not open.
I know,
there was no ability to just get into the paint.
That's fair.
We can't just say it off the snap of a finger.
Oh, you're right.
Every time that Arizona got inside, the whole Kansas State team collapsed around them and like was forcing either a bad shot or a bad pass, right? And I felt like, honestly, and like this is where I think things were made difficult. Kansas State was really allowed to be physical inside the paint, in my opinion. And I think like Toby Awaka felt the pressure of that a lot. Like he was getting like slammed up against when he was receiving the ball and whatnot. But I don't know, man. I think that there's not really a right answer. If there was, like, we'd be me and you would be coaching, or we'd be Caleb Love's mental coach or something. But like, personally, I'm fine with the shots that were taken. I just like, it just sucks when they don't go in, because I mean, but Arizona didn't earn this W tonight. Like you got to make those shots if you want to win. And ultimately Kansas State, they get the dub because they deserve it, and they were the better team. But we're going to talk about all this and more, Kevin, on the other side of the break. But first, let's talk about some sponsors on the AZ Wildcats postgame show.
Yeah, Damon, and one of those sponsors that we do want to talk about today is our friends over at Circle K. Now, it's America's thirst stop, Damon, and you can join the Inner Circle for free, easy to download, enter your email and phone number to be enrolled. And after all that, all you got to do is put your phone number into the little checkout thing or the pump, and you'll get some discounts. Now, discounts can be 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And then once you get into that next level, you get that 5 cents off per gallon that I know Damon Dog has. I haven't lived up here long enough to get that, so I'm working my way up. I'm working my way up slowly, pump by pump, fill up by fill up. You know what I'm saying? Thirst, meet your match at Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. Participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Do that, and also make sure you guys head on over to the Carol Royce team if you're looking to buy a home in the Valley. Carol's helped Valley residents find over 12,000 homes that her and her team have gotten people into. And everyone knows finding the right agent is going to be a big decision for you and your family, because it's going to be one of the biggest purchases you ever make. Make sure Carol is the team that you choose, because the Carol Royce team, it's a guaranteed choice when you choose to do your real estate with them, because they're gonna pay the difference on that market value. If say like you pay for a home, it's too much, or say the one that you want isn't up to snuff, they're going to buy it back from you too. That's just the Carol Royce guarantee, and it's better than any guarantee in the business. So if you're considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce, your home sold guaranteed realty. Move up to one of our listings and we'll buy your home for cash. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com. Well, Kevin, we actually didn't get into it, even though I requested that we did, but we went in a different direction. I do want to talk about this inbounds though, because you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was saying sorry. My mind just totally went, sick brain just went to like, what happened? How did we lose that game? But you're right. Let's talk about the inbound, because you and I were going insane over this inbound pass.
Yeah. So Kevin and I are on the phone. Little disclosure here. Kevin's like 8 seconds ahead of me on the broadcast, and he's like, he felt bad about it, but it was that egregious of a play that he just out loud just had to go, "Oh my God," with the ball in the air. And I was just like, I have no idea what happened, but it didn't sound like a good thing that happened. And then I saw for myself. And even though I had the warning, Kevin, it still shocked me to my core.
Yes.
The way in which that went down. Saul said it to me on Twitter, and it's the truth. Like, clearly they're trying to avoid a foul there, being down 3 with minimal time remaining. They believe Kansas State attempt a foul. They probably are. That's the truth, that Kansas State is looking to foul. But you mentioned this off air, Kevin. It's not going to prevent a foul.
Having to high point the ball.
High pointing the basketball halfway down the court, because when you're on your way coming down, they're just going to foul you immediately. So it's like, I don't really understand the thought process of, we're going to circumvent being fouled here by making our catch on the inbounds take a full 2 seconds. It's like, that isn't how you circumvent that. You do that by setting some screens, having people run around it. And that's on Tommy Lloyd and like, listen, like I'm not saying I have like a inbounds play there that is going to work, but I'm not the coach that's getting paid millions of dollars a year to coach one of the top 10 basketball programs in the country. Like that's inexcusable in my opinion from Tommy Lloyd in that circumstance. How does he not have something better drawn up for that situation than that, Kevin? You never expect to be in a situation where you're down 3, the other team might foul, and you have about 5 seconds left, and you need to get up a shot.
It's almost like they just went through that with Iowa State.
I honestly like. It's shocking to me because I think me and you both value Tommy so highly as a coach. We think he's such a like just damn good coach at the end of the day, and he provides so many positives. But it's things like that where I'm like, it feels like he's severely lacking in the department of like out of bounds timeout play or in-game adjustments on offense, like that kind of stuff. It doesn't feel like Arizona does anything differently ever.
I don't want to speak to his in general inbounds and ATOs and stuff like that, but I do want to talk about this inbounds because you mentioned it, right? The issue with having to high point the ball and how it's probably not going to get you the result that you think that it's going to, even if you are able to complete the catch, which they weren't. It was thrown into the middle of 3 K-State players. My issue with it was, remember the Iowa State shot by Caleb Love? How could you forget, right? There were about 2.2 seconds on the clock, and they inbounded it below the free throw line on the other end of the court.
There's not a game plan, clearly.
And for them to have 6.9 seconds, left in this game, and then try to huck it to midcourt, I don't get there's not consistency with that to me. Like there's not like a consistent, this is what we do in these situations to me. And that's a very difficult play. You're asking pretty much for a Hail Mary, right? I'm not saying that Arizona should have converted something. I'm not saying that, how could Arizona not tie the game up at the end? What I am saying, though, you have to give yourself a better shot at things than that. You have to give yourself a better chance at it than that. And yeah, I don't know. It's a situation where literally unless they make a shot to tie the game, I feel like people are still going to be like, what are you doing in that situation, right? Now, I'm not saying that this was an excusable play to call, but what I am saying is like if
they got up a good look,
if they catch it and they foul them, I don't think people are as up. I don't think you and I we'd be like, oh, that was kind of weird. But I don't think we'd be up in arms. The pass looked so bad that it made the play call look even worse than it already is. You know what I mean? It didn't have a chance. That throw never had a chance. And then Caleb Love, the next time, had that shot, and you know that. I mean, I'm not trying to diss Caleb Love. I'm just saying that that's a magical moment, like what happened against Iowa State. You can't just replicate that 2 weeks later just because you need it. And so, yeah, that inbounds play was like mystifyingly confusing. Because, yes, I understand that Saul's probably right that they are trying to avoid some sort of foul in that situation. But I don't know. Like that blew my mind. Like Damon was right. Like the whole time I was 8 seconds ahead and I really wasn't trying to spoil anything for Damon. I was kind of waiting for him to react so I could react. And then that was just a play where I had to say, what was that? What on earth was that? And yeah, but obviously it doesn't come down to just that. It was a lot more reasons why Arizona lost this game than that. But that was a very lackluster way to end that game. That was already a lackluster game in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point, which is you're in a more dire situation versus Iowa State, and you don't do that. So then walk me through the thought process of doing it this time. That's where I can't wrap my head around it. And that's where it's not making any sense to me of like, how are those? I mean, it's within a week and a half of each other, Kevin. Do you think that Caleb Love is just going to hit those now? Like, Caleb's got it. Like
he saw one go through. He saw one go through, Damon. He's fine. He saw one go through. He's money now.
To be fair, like given the way that Caleb's game had been going up to that point,
it was
probably is more likely to hit that shot than less likely to hit it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like that was a tough way to end it. And honestly, it kind of was a good ending, fitting ending, I should say, not a good ending, but a fitting ending to this game. Just so lackluster and just like felt like we left so much on the table all throughout the game. And just in that moment, just a culmination of that exact feeling.
Okay, so I have two places I want to take this next, but it's still on the late game shot selection topic, right? Joseph Gastelum, I'm going to get to Joseph's comment in a second, but the basketball and football guy says there is no way Tommy Lloyd told him to chuck it up. That was 100% on Bradley. Now, we don't know, right, what the play was, what Bradley was seeing in the moment, but that comment made me think about that sidestep 3 that Bradley took against Iowa State before Caleb Love hit that shot. When you and I were like, that can't be what Tommy Lloyd drew up, right? A sidestep contested 3 for Jaden Bradley? Can't be. So maybe, this is just a conversation topic. We're not trying to this is not my take, but is this a Jaden Bradley thing? Like, is this a late game Jaden Bradley just doesn't know where to put the ball?
No.
Like, I don't, because I have trouble believing, the only reason I say that, Damon, is the same thing you were just saying about Tommy Lloyd. I have trouble believing that Tommy would draw something up like that.
I do, because I think Tommy's such a smart guy and such just a good coach in general that, it's hard to be like, that's really what he went with. But I don't know, man. I trust Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley's he's not making mistakes, Kevin. Like, I know he's turning the ball over from time to time, but like, he's not like, he also has the ball in his hands more than anybody. Yes. But I'm saying he's not making like mental mistakes. I don't think it's more physical mistakes. Yeah. And Jaden Bradley's not a selfish player. He's not the type. There's a 0%. I'll tell you what, this much. There might be a chance that he just threw the ball down there tonight. There's a 0% chance that was not the play call for Tommy on that side out of bounds versus Iowa State. That was definitely called, because Jaden Bradley's not taking that shot unless that was the game plan.
And basketball football guy also brings up a good point that they blew up the screen on that play that he took the sidestep 3. So continue.
The inbounds tonight was just, I don't know. I mean, I saw Joseph Gastelum say that it was a bad throw. When you're throwing it 50 yards, you're prone to make bad. Like, we don't blame, you don't lose your mind when a quarterback overthrows a receiver downfield by a yard when it's that deep of a throw. It's like, this was, especially in contested coverage, this was contested far as hell. Like, not an easy pass. It wasn't an accurate pass, but it also was like, think about the situation you're getting put into there.
Yeah.
Oh, if only you could throw the ball down the court and it drops into a bucket. It's like, well, that's like, I don't know. I think that you put your players in really tough positions to make plays when that's the call.
Yeah, and it went into a crowd too. Like Lost Highway said it. I said it earlier that like there was no chance. It wasn't even a shot. Like, I don't know. That was a really frustrating one. And I wanted to talk about, I think you liked the shot more than I did. What can we talk about the Caleb Love 3 near the end of the game as well? I think Joseph said it in the chat. It was a fadeaway 3 on one of Arizona's last possessions. And I just felt like, yes, you need a 3. Yes, time is winding down. It just, and again, you said this earlier, like, you can't just create and poof up open shots if K-State's playing good defense, right? But like, it felt forced. Like, it didn't even feel like, even for Caleb Love, who is an incredibly talented contested shot maker, it did not feel like a high percent shot. And I'm not saying that he had to give it up. I'm not saying that anyone else's hands should have been on the ball when it mattered most. But it doesn't always have to be in Caleb Love's hands at the end of the game. I'm not saying that is like a mandate or anything, but like, that shot felt like all right, I got to get it up because we're down 3 and I'm Caleb Love, and
I'm with you on that one.
I don't know.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, I'm not sitting here being like, every shot Caleb Love took tonight was unbelievable. Like, that's no one get on him, that he's just doing his thing. That one in particular was not great. I'm more talking about like, one's coming to mind to me right now. And I remember Corey saying it was open and like it was a late contest, but he clearly got in a good rhythm and got a shot off, and it was in the corner. And they kind of threw it out to him and he missed that one. It went in and out, I believe. But like I did in general, I didn't hate the shots from Caleb Love tonight. But yeah, I mean, he does have the tendency to, Arizona's down 3 and needs a big shot with less than 2 minutes left. Well, watch me put my cape on and then just awful shot selection, right?
Cape was a little tattered tonight.
To be fair, I don't think Arizona looks very good at all, no matter who has the ball in their hands when it's like you're down 1 possession and you need a bucket. I don't feel comfortable with really anybody taking those shots because I don't think anybody is really that outside of Caleb Love, that great of a shot maker on this team. And he has had such a bad season, obviously, that you can't call him that one either.
Yeah. And, it's tough, right? Because this is the Caleb Love cycle of things, right? But we kept asking for him, and I know you said it the other day that we shouldn't worry about too much about his percentages, and we should rather look at his contribution. And I do agree with that. But when you shoot 3 for 15, put up 6 points, no free throws,
that's bad.
0 for 7 from 3, and I lost his numbers there. But you and I were talking about it earlier. This was the first game in a while that you and I were like, where is Caleb Love? Like even from a passing standpoint, even from a rebounding standpoint, you and I think it was early in the second half, we're kind of like, dang, this is the first time Caleb Love's gone ghost in a while. Now he did finish with 7 rebounds, which is a good contribution from a guy like Caleb Love, right? But and he did have 3 assists in the second half, but it was just, you need more from Caleb Love if the shot's not gonna fall. Right. Yeah. And when he had that nice pass to Carter Bryant for the dunk, yep. I was thinking, it's turning around. Here we go. Too. Here we go. And it just never did. And so, yes, it's the Caleb Love that we know and love still. Like we all know and love this experience, right? I'd rather ride this roller coaster than some other roller coasters across the country, right? But you do need more from, like, it's simple. Like, you really do need more from him if you're going to make it far. And I'm like, Arizona does not necessarily go as Caleb Love goes, but if Caleb Love puts up the kind of performance he did today where he's not even interested in getting down to the free throw line and he's 0 for 7 from 3 and he gets most of his assists kind of towards the end of the game, it's hard to win, man. I think it's hard to win if he's not helping you out in those little ways too.
Yeah, I think that exact play, I thought the exact same thing, Kevin. I know usually we get to watch together. So we probably both would have been saying at the exact same time, this is it. This is the moment where Caleb Love starts to pick it up a little bit, because that was an incredible pass. He totally faked out the Kansas State big man there. I think it was, what's his name? The dude who was in foul trouble all night.
Gasson?
Yeah, I think it was Gasson there. And he totally faked him out. Through a beautiful pass, free 2 points for Carter Bryant there. And, I really thought he was going to get more involved in the game, start penetrating a little bit more. I think getting to the free throw line when he's shooting like this, Kevin, is huge because you see the ball go in the basket a couple of times, and it just gets you feeling a little bit better about your game and that mental side of things. And yeah, I mean, when he's going to be 3 of 15, I don't love to see 0 of 0 from the free throw line. That's for damn sure. Because that means that he was basically just a net negative for you all night long on an offensive side of the ball.
And you know what, Damon, like earlier when you and I had that little mini conversation about, what would you rather him pass up open threes? And I was like, honestly, kind of, yeah, because he hadn't shot any free throws. Didn't even give himself the chance to get a rhythm going. You know what I mean? Let's say he had a couple free throws, they went in and the 3 just wasn't falling. Fine. Keep shooting the 3. But you got to get yourself going. You have to give yourself a chance to get momentum. Right. And it just didn't feel like that was there. The whole team kind of felt listless outside of like Toby Awaka. Toby Awaka has been bringing it. Toby Awaka has been bringing it every night. He had foul trouble, sat early in the first half with 2 fouls and picked up a third. I didn't like the third. KJ Lewis kind of threw a pass away. It kind of put Toby in a spot where he was already fouling him as the pass was being intercepted. Yeah. And I really didn't like that one.
That was the best play Coleman Hawkins made all night long.
You're going to kill me.
You're
going to kill me. No, you're right, though.
I think it was. Like, he jumped in front of the ball in a way where he forced Toby Awaka to foul him. And it was a good play. And the rest of the game, he looked like a complete and utter circus clown. But We could talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show. I'm sure I need to get some Coleman Hawkins shots in when we start wrapping up here. But Joseph puts in here, and I think it's a phenomenal point, and I think this is so damn true about this team. We can win if Love isn't hitting. We have been for majority of this season. But what we can't do is win when the rest of the team is not hitting and Caleb Love is not hitting. Because a night like tonight, the rest of the team stinks, right? No one's having a good offensive performance, really. KJ starts picking it up at the end of the game, but for a large majority of that game, really wasn't very good himself either. This is a game where you lose by 3, and if Caleb Love is just like kind of bad instead of awful, you win the game.
Yeah.
But and I think that the combination of those things, like, and it's weird to like put him like on the other side apart from the team over here and Caleb Love over here. But I do think that it's like, it really is the truth. Like if the team's going to struggle, Caleb Love needs to be carrying. And if Caleb Love's going to struggle, the rest of the team needs to be just efficient. You know what I mean? And they have been for majority of Big 12 play, but this game was not that at all. And I mean, I think you could probably look into a lot of the losses and say similar.
Yeah, and when K-State is forcing you to take tough threes and, like you said, swarming the paint, because like we've talked about it in I think the Tech post game, but certainly recently Arizona's been doing a lot better job of when the defense is not giving you an open shot, going and creating an open shot by getting just below the free throw line, having a big set, a nice little screen at the top of the elbow right there, and get a little mid-range look, right? But I think K-State did a really good job of taking away Arizona's I don't want to say go-to because they don't have a go-to offense, but kind of taking away Arizona's plan B, right? If plan A was, okay, open 3, but they're not letting us have that because of the high traps and all this, that, and the third, maybe let's get into the paint. And then, oh, wow, we're getting swarmed in the paint. The tenacity on defense, usually we've been saying that about Arizona winning them games this year. It won K-State this game, right? Playing so physical. You texted it to me earlier. Playing so physical against Arizona. When Arizona is usually the team out physicaling their opponent, I think definitely showed. KJ Lewis was feeling it. He has that, whatever is ailing him with that wrist that he had wrapped up. He was holding that in the second half, took a hard fall. Carter Bryant, I guess I kind of want to talk about him later in a little bit, but I don't think dealt well with the physicality early in this game. Overall, K-State did a great job. They played it like a road game, if we're being honest. They played at home like it was a road game, right? They didn't shoot well. In fact, they shot horribly. But they D'd up, played hard, and I know that sounds cliche, but it's true, right? As soon as that goaltending happened, their intensity ramped up, their traps ramped up, they're jumping into the lane, sped up, and I think offensively it was who's going to get going first from a shooting perspective. Neither team got going. We're going to get into the numbers here in a little bit, but yeah, Damon, K-State played this one like a bunch of junkyard dogs. And if I was a K-State fan, I would feel so good about this game because, like we said earlier, it's a game that they probably shouldn't have won, but they walk out of here with another ranked victory. I think they're 4th on this win streak.
Yeah.
K-State, like some people in the chat might not like it, but K-State's a damn good team. And yeah, Arizona got played tough. K-State gave them all they can handle and then some, but sometimes you just walk into a tough situation and you don't come out on top. It's going to be about their response on Saturday. That's going to tell us everything I think we need to know about this team's chances in the tournament. I think. I'm not saying it's black or white on a win or loss on Saturday, but it definitely will tell us a lot about where this team is at, really.
I'm with you there. I think that's a good point. Like if Arizona comes out and even if they lose, but they're intense defensively and they have a good, offensive game plan, like I'll feel a lot more comfortable about the team's chances moving forward and how far into the tournament they could possibly go. Because let's face it, Houston might be the best team in the country. I know they're number 6 right now, but they well and truly might be the best team in the country. And they definitely have been the best team in the country over the past 3 to 4 years in totality. So, I think that's a fact. I'll do the research on it if you want me to, Kevin, but they have the best record.
You know,
over
my
that
mind went
time period,
immediately.
they have the best record.
That's kind of the metrics and things like that. My mind immediately went to, well, UConn went back to back. How is it not UConn? But I do get your greater point. I do understand. I'm not trying to argue on semantics here.
Over those like 4 years, I think they have the best overall record, and like Ken Palm wise, they've been top 5 every single year. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it will go to show a lot, and yeah, I mean, I think Jerome Tang clearly got his team fired up to play, and I think I'd venture to guess that in that kind of quick little reconvening that they had during that review of that goaltending, he probably told them, listen, guys, like if this call is about to be ass, and get fired up about it, you know, and get ready, like let it make you mad.
Hey, Coleman, that's some points you actually went out there and earned for once in this game, and they took it away from you. Get mad. Big guy.
That's the only dude that didn't get fired up out of that.
Dude, did you see, talking about not getting fired up, did you see after the game, immediately after the game went final, everyone on K-State's like, yeah, hell yeah, big W. The guy that got the steal against KJ gets up and screams in his face, ah. Coleman Hawkins is over there like this. Like, I played so bad. Oh, they're going to fry me on Twitter.
Oh, that's too bad.
Your team just got probably I don't want to say it's for sure the biggest win. One of the biggest wins of their season, continuing a road trip. And
Kansas is always the biggest win for them. Yeah, but yeah, it's like Coleman, go cry on your giant piles of cash, brother. You know?
Yeah. No,
we got a Kansas State fan in here, Kevin.
We do.
I don't think. You think this is the dude from Twitter that got mad at you too?
I don't think that it was. I can actually go back and check.
Because that dude on Twitter, it seemed like he was saying pretty similar stuff. This K-State fan says, I was told you guys weren't too worried about K-State.
Okay, wait. Okay, so
I don't remember saying that. But
hold on. Our guy, Ema03, right? I think he's talking about me, not you. Because early in this season, I was the guy saying, I'm not too worried about K-State. They're a bottom of the barrel team in this conference, but they're well coached, but this is not the year. But you have to admit, as a K-State fan, you guys have turned your perception around a full 180. You guys were 1-6 in conference. Of course, I wasn't worried about you guys, right?
You think that they're locked in on our like Big 12 like rest of way show that we did from?
Maybe.
I don't think that they're watching that. I think that they're watching like our preview show and commenting based off of what somebody said on that.
Well, we were quite complimentary. I thought we were complimentary, and we thought that Arizona should win this game, but the K-State was a very tough team in a very tough environment. But shout out to another K-State fan in the chat, David Brand, who says, I am a K-State fan and happy to win, but not thrilled with how the game went. Stumbled into this and has been interesting to listen to. Well, we appreciate you for tuning in, Mr. Brand. We appreciate everyone in the chat for tuning in. Obviously, we got 267 lives, 267 human beings in this chat right now. So if you have not dropped a like, you got to drop a like. It's just a one click. If you're in full screen, it's 2 clicks. You know what I'm saying?
And if you're on Twitter, head on over to YouTube and get in the chat and come hang out with us.
Yeah, but no, we really do appreciate everyone being in the chat here tonight, especially after this kind of a game where Arizona just did not show up the way and be the Wildcats that we know them to be, Damon Dog. And, you know, let's get into the numbers here, Damon. I think we'd be remiss we're 48 minutes in here. I think we'd be remiss to not break down these numbers from this game here. And no, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a typo. 9-5 was the 3-point percentage in this game. That was not a typo. I did not make a crazy mistake on that.
Vile.
It was gross to watch these two teams shoot the ball. But pre-show, I even told Damon Dog, when's the last time two teams shot this bad from the three combined? Like, I'm sure it's happened in somewhat recent memory, but like in the Big 12, man, like, again, someone fact check me, but this seems like unprecedented territory. Like, that was almost an accomplishment. Let's check in on our guy Damon Dog. Oh,
Kevin, I don't feel so good anymore.
Oh, we're both sick?
After looking at that 3-point percentage, I don't think I feel so good anymore.
Oh man. Well, if you're sick and I'm sick, who do we blame? Because I don't know where I got sick, but if Arizona got you sick,
you were pre-sick because you just knew how bad the Arizona was going to play.
Yeah, I called out sick today. I wasn't actually sick. Sorry, Shane. I called out sick because I knew this game was going to make me sick. So yeah, I just called out preemptively. Did not want to, ruin that one. But Yeah, Damon, when we looked at those numbers, I'm not going to put them back up because they were so ugly. And honestly, those numbers don't really dictate as to why Arizona lost this game. I do want to talk about them losing the stock market battle again. Lost the stock market battle. Can't have that happen.
Yeah, that was kind of what stood out to me, is that we lost the stocks again. We're down. The stocks are down. Not great. But yeah, I think it's hard to not look at that graphic and only think about the 3-point percentage, because 9 to 5%. It's crazy that we won that too. It's like,
yeah. Well, let me pull up the exact numbers and get the chat the exact numbers. 2 okay.
2 of 22 versus 1 of 19. Yeah. Lost Highway has it here in the chat.
Yeah. But it's gross. That's disgusting.
I know that there's not really anybody that we want to give it to, and we talked about it pre-show, and Kevin and I were debating up until the final buzzer, but we do in fact have a player of the game to give out, and we're going to give that to you right now. I guess I was going to do it after the break, but Kevin wants to do it right now. So we're not
in the same studio, and our chemistry is all out of mix, and I'm
going to go ahead and say that it's all on you. But
hey, I got the immune system of a Victorian little girl. Like, I have the immune system of someone who'd probably be seeing a plague doctor at any time soon. So I'll take it. Hand up, Damon. Hand up. And pull back the curtain a little bit. I stole that guy's ad read in the first ad read. So I'm just all over the place. But I showed up here for you. I showed up here for this chat, and I showed up here to talk a little bit about this Arizona Wildcats basketball game. So I'm here. All right, it's a flu game, but I'm here. Okay,
it is a flu game. It is indeed a flu game, Kevin. But you know what? We teased the player of the game. We're going to talk about it on the other side of this break.
Well, Damon, dog, one thing is for certain. After this, I'm gonna need some THC. I'm gonna need some THC, and I like to use my THC with people that break records, make history, because Cornbread Hemp is America's first ever USDA organic THC gummy, and their mission at Cornbread is to improve your quality of life with the highest quality hemp. Your healthy happy hour starts with Cornbread Hemp, a natural, healthier way to experience a carefree moment. Cornbread's THC gummies offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. Like I said, it's America's first USDA organic THC edible, proudly grown in Kentucky. Shout out to some other Wildcats that I'm sure Cornbread supports. Perfect for taking the edge off without making you feel anxious or paranoid, or just like you're way too, up and at it. 10 milligrams of THC per gummy is just the right dose. Cornbread uses nothing harsh, unlike most hemp THC products. No synthetic ingredients. Farm Bill compliant for legal adults over the age of 21. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give Cornbread Hemp a try. They've created the first ever USDA THC gummy, and it's 100% legal. As a special offer for PHNX listeners, you can get 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX. Use promo code PHNX at checkout. Again, that's cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX, and use code PHNX for 30% off of your first order. Cheers to a healthier happy hour. Oh my God.
Kevin, every time that you talk about Cornbread Hemp, I just want cornbread.
That's hey, my mind sure cornbread would slap a lot harder after you've ingested some cornbread THC gummies. Maybe it's a little bit of a marriage made in heaven,
I think that's exactly what they're trying to tell you to do. And I got another thing I'm going to tell you to do right now. The Lamborghini Lux giveaway, Kevin, at Gila River Resorts and Casinos is back. It is back, sir. We talked about revving away in your Lamborghini Lux in driving out of Wild Horse Pass on March 1st after the lucky winner on the grand finale drawing. Why not you? Why not us? Why not you win it, and then you hit me and Kevin up, and you take us around in your new Lamborghini and just show us what the high life is looking like. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, the best, the absolute best. I was just in a casino in New Orleans. Whole time we were in there, PHNX Cardinals crew and me going, damn, I wish I was in Wild Horse Pass with the beautiful floor, the Shula Steakhouse, the all the different restaurants, upscale to low scale, the biggest sports book in the state of Arizona, BetMGM Sportsbook. I mean, all of it is like, it's just beautiful. And I was missing it big time when I was in the great state of Louisiana, but it has nothing on the great state of Arizona. And that is partly because Gila River Resorts and Casinos is the best casino in the entire world. They got 4 locations. Hit up any of them. My favorite is Wild Horse Pass, where they're doing that Lamborghini Lux drawing. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details or check out the link in the description below. Well, Kevin, we teased it. Let's get into it.
Didn't give it out.
Player of the game. Yeah, you're right. For the first time, the player of the game versus Kansas State, we're giving it to Jaden Bradley. 13 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Honestly, this just feels like we control C, control V to every Jaden Bradley game this entire season. And just we could probably just have a graphic made like this, Kevin. And then you can just, whenever it's Jaden Bradley, just plug and play because it's going to be the exact same statistics in every game, it feels like. But yeah, I mean, when the rest of your team kind of sucks and the one guy on your team that shows up and his floor is just steady as can be, the same in every game, basically, kind of where we make Jaden the player of the game. Because I feel like, Kevin, we're not in a lot of circumstances where Jaden Bradley does in fact win player of the game, because typically his stats look something like that, and there's someone that had a little bit better game than he did. But when you're on a night where everybody else kind of stinks the place up, that game is the best you got. And,
I think you pretty much covered the bases there on Jaden Bradley, but I do want to mention some honorable mentions here, right? Because Jaden Bradley got this award pretty much by default of having like the more consistent performance over the entire game, because KJ Lewis, right, guarding the other team's best players outside of Doug McDaniel, obviously, because he can't guard everyone. But KJ Lewis also, 6 for 12, he shot actually pretty well. Also had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 personal fouls. He also had 3 turnovers though. 2 stocks. Jaden Bradley also had 2 stocks. And the main reason as to why, I felt it's a little, yes, we give it to Jaden Bradley, but it's a little bit of like with an asterisk, because like some people here in the chat are saying, JB had 5 turnovers and some of them were kind of ugly. You know what I mean? And so, this was by no means a perfect game. We had to give it to someone, though. I also mentioned pre-show to Damon, maybe Tobe Awaka, just because clearly he was so important to what Arizona was trying to do. And when he was out and when he was sitting down with foul trouble or what have you, Arizona looked totally different.
Yeah.
The rebounding was a lot more lackluster. Baysar did what he could, but there's just a certain level of physicality with Tobe Awaka. That's just different, right? I mean, excuse me. There were multiple times in this game where Tobe's got 2 or 3 defenders on him, and he's still able to elbow his way through, find a pass, or just go up with it and get a bucket or draw a foul, right? So there were a couple players that could have gotten this award tonight. I don't think any of us are going to be too happy to give it to anybody in particular tonight.
Yeah.
But we're going to give it to Jaden Bradley, the more consistent game, I suppose. But honorable mentions to KJ Lewis and Tobe Awaka as well.
Yeah, I see some people in the chat pushing back a little bit, and I get it. 5 turnovers is not good. If you guys, I'd love to hear what everybody else's player of the game is. Like, you guys, everyone drop their player of the game in the chat if you guys disagree that it should not have been Jaden Bradley. I think, Kevin, like you say it best there, where it's just like we had to give it to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think we were all like kind of splitting hairs who should get it, because no one really had a great game. I agree. I think KJ kind of would have been the next guy, but I think that mine and Kevin's apprehension to give it to KJ was due to the fact that he was 1 of 8 in the first half, or somewhere around. Like,
KJ Lewis was 1 for 5 with 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, no blocks, no steals, an assist, and 4 rebounds in the first half.
So he was atrocious in the first half. Not even just bad. He was really bad.
I agree, but I do want to add that he was playing some excellent post defense on Coleman Hawkins, Gassan, pretty much anybody that tried to back him down. He wasn't going for none of that.
Well, he always brings that. Yeah.
No, but I think it must be said that he was –
it does.
They were throwing everybody at KJ Lewis tonight. And so, his offense was pretty bad, but also his defense was so good that, like,
That's
KJ
fair.
Lewis has never been the guy to do it all in every game. Like, he can do it all, right? But he can only do but so much. And so, I think KJ Lewis, Paul Irvine says Doug. If we're being if we took both teams into account, it's certainly Doug McDaniel. He was incredible. I know I was worried about his shot making coming into this game, so he made me look smart, and I hate looking smart when it's stuff like this.
Yeah, and also just like I honestly, Kevin, and maybe you don't want this, but I think Doug should be in our Hall of Names.
Oh, Yes. You know what, Damon? I was actually going to bring this up to you pre-show because I didn't know how you felt about McDaniel. I didn't know how, because
Doesn't
sometimes
matter
the
for
first
me.
half of the name being cool and the second half of the name,
D-U-G, baby.
it's so
That's all
cool.
I need.
Yeah, Hall of
It is.
Names, Doug McDaniel. You know what? For tomorrow's show, I'll have the Hall of Names updated, and we'll debut our first inaugural class of Hall of Names people, and we'll update it at the end of the year. And yeah, we have some fun names in there. Yeah, but Doug McDaniel, I think, has to get in there. Doug,
Electric,
but not Doug. It's Doug.
I might name my kid Doug, but like that. That's so good. But yeah, I mean, I think honestly, looking back on it, yeah, maybe we should have given it to KJ Lewis just because even in the first half when he's playing a bad offensive game, he's still bringing it on defense. But yeah, man, in the second half, he was clear. Let me just say he was clearly the best player on Arizona in the second half. And if we were solely basing it off of that, he would have easily won it. But I think we were maybe we were naive, but we were just. I think it was just the totality of KJ's game that made it where it felt like it was, you couldn't just give him player of the game. I mean, that's where we're at, Kevin. I don't know. You got anything else before we get into Coleman Hawkins? Because I gotta let some takes fly, bro.
Oh yeah, hey, and I'm a convert of your anti-Coleman Hawkins church. I'm a convert now,
dude.
But
was that not disgusting to watch tonight?
It was. But if you're on our streaming platforms and you do want to get nasty with us about Coleman Hawkins, head over to gophnx.com and join the party there because we gonna keep ripping and rocking over here. But yeah, let's just talk about it because I guess let's wrap up. Our talk about the game in general and then get into Coleman Hawkins and maybe a little bit of touch on Houston real quick. But yeah, in general. This is not something that I feel like we're going to be talking about again. Arizona shooting 9% from three. This was an awful performance offensively from everybody. Really, it was just gross. It was a nasty game. I was sick already, but it didn't make me feel any better watching this game. I was like, oh, at least I'm going to make some money on Arizona and they're going to win. And here we are. But we look forward to Houston on Saturday. The sky is not falling. This was a very lackluster performance. In a season with, Arizona's really done a good job of making sure these performances don't happen recently. So hopefully this is just a blip on the radar against one of the hottest teams in the country, and Arizona can rebound on Saturday. Damon, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't have tons of confidence just because of how damn good Houston is as a basketball team. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a very big test for this team and where they can go and the level that they can reach, because this is a tournament game, right, Kevin? I mean, this one could be for the Big 12, but at the same time, you're looking at Houston and if you don't get up for this game, what game are you getting up for? This is the game. And yeah, I mean, I think that I'm excited for this one. This is what the Big 12 is all about. We talked about this prior to the K-State game where it's just every single game feels like the stakes are just so damn high. But the one thing that I will take solace in is that it's at McHale. And every time Arizona's at home, you got a good chance to win. So, I hopefully the Cats can pull that one out because it would be absolutely massive for the remainder of this season. I think that Tommy's done a good job of kind of keeping the main thing and keeping focus on the task at hand. But I do think that if you win this one, you got to carry all that momentum into the remainder of the season. We beat Houston. This team is nothing or whatever, that type of mentality. We already played our hardest game on the schedule. Time to no one we face is going to shock us at this point.
Yeah, and I think, you bring up a good point about Tommy Lloyd keeping the main thing. I think this is part of the main thing. Playing Houston at home on a Saturday after you lost to K-State, I know that the main thing is the national title, right? But you can't get there unless you beat a team like Houston. So I think this is, like you said, if you don't get up for this game, you just don't care because this is the biggest game on the schedule you have remaining. And this is, like I just said, a part of what it takes to be a national title contender. And so, we talked about a thermometer game recently. I think it was Iowa State game where, that was kind of a thermometer for how Arizona can be the rest of the year. I don't feel that same way about K-State, but I do feel that way about Houston. I do. I think that we're going to, like I said earlier, we're going to learn a lot about what this Arizona team has to offer throughout the rest of the season on Saturday.
Yeah, and we will have you locked and loaded with all the best coverage, as always, doing a post-game show 15 minutes after the final whistle. We will be going live. And, yeah, Kevin, hopefully you're better by then.
Oh, Saturday, I'm going to be right. I'm going to get right for Saturday. Ain't no way I'm sick on Saturday.
I'll drag Kevin out of his – I just recently learned where Kevin lives. I will show up to Kevin's doorstep and drag him out of his apartment to the studio if need be for the Houston game. Because this is our Super Bowl.
It is. This is the big game. This is the big game, Damon. And I will by hell or high water, I will be healthy on Saturday. Nothing is keeping me out of the studio. I don't give a damn what bacteria I got in my body. I will be right next to my guy Damon Dog watching this Houston game. So yeah.
All right, Kevin. I think it's time for some Coleman Hawkins takes.
Oh, let's do it, David. Yeah,
says I look sick too. You know what? Sick about this loss and sick about that 3-point percentage that Arizona shot tonight. Disgusting, brother.
Yeah,
disgusting.
I tweeted out earlier this game did nothing to make me feel better. Like I think it made me feel worse having to sit there and watch the second half of that game. So yeah, what made me feel better though was laughing about Coleman Hawkins with my guy Damon, who I think I should set this up because I am the convert to the church of anti-Coleman Hawkins because I'm on the camp of he's a very talented, well-rounded player. He can do a little bit of everything. He's, I think, the only player in D1 averaging 10 plus points, 7 plus boards, 4 plus assists, a block and a half, and a steal. I think that was what they said on the broadcast. The fact
let me cut you off real quick. I just want to say I also believe Coleman Hawkins is an extremely well-rounded player, and I also believe he has a lot of upside and potential. But keep going.
And me and Damon, when we're talking about this game coming up, Damon was much more in the camp of, I'm not too fazed about Coleman Hawkins, right? I'm not too worried about what Coleman Hawkins can do to us offensively or defensively. And I was like, I don't know, Damon. I don't know. And I texted Damon earlier. I was like, I can't stand watching this Coleman Hawkins guy. He's so hard to watch. He's crying a lot. He's complaining a lot. He's not contributing. He's shooting threes from the logo, missing threes from the logo. He's trying to flop in the second half. His team wins, and he's sad because he shot, 2 for 13 or something ridiculous. Yeah, get Coleman Hawkins out of here. It was 2 for 11. I tweeted in the game, win or lose, it doesn't matter if Arizona wins this game. I'm just happy that I don't got to watch Coleman Hawkins play again.
True. We might have to watch him play in the Big 12 tournament, which would stink. But even though Arizona lost tonight, I'll sleep well at night knowing that Coleman Hawkins contributed almost nothing to tonight's W. I think that play that you referenced, the flop, where he tried to take a charge and then laid out flat on the ground like this for what, 3 seconds?
Yeah, afterwards, it was a good, 3 seconds. His teammates had to come be like, "Yo, get off the floor!"
Yeah, I mean they were it was mid game after that, and he's just looking for the refs, being like, "You didn't see that?" And he's extending his arms out, laying flat to try to accentuate. The guy is just so unwatchable. And Shane said it while we were watching the end of the game because he's producing PHNX Suns tonight. Make sure you guys tune into that after this show goes dead. But yeah, Shane was like, Coleman Hawkins is the least Damon basketball player on the planet Earth. And it really is true. There's I won't be able to ever get behind a 6'10" dude who shoots 40%, who complains every single possession up and down the floor. That'll never be a guy that I will, ride for, be like, oh, I love watching this guy play. And the thing is I love passing big men. That's one of my favorite attributes in a player, a big man that can, play make. I think it's unbelievable. And he's a great playmaker for his size. And as you mentioned, he's a player that can do a lot because he can put the ball on the floor. He's 6'10". He's very athletic. He's agile. He has all the tools to be a really, really high level basketball player. I just don't think he contributes to winning.
College nerd is crazy. But no,
I mean, from a complaining standpoint, kinda.
Yeah.
He's just and can you imagine that's your big NIL guy on your team? That would make me sick, dude. Well, I'd be we couldn't have gone out and gotten anybody freaking else other than this guy. We're paying this guy $2 million.
Sheesh. That's a lot of bread, man. That's a lot of USD. But I do want to shout out to David Brand in the chat, our resident K-State fan for the night, who says Coleman Hawkins is probably the reason they got the turnaround in the first place, but also he's not the most lovable player, and he's not sure that he's going to miss him when he's gone, which, I think that's kind of the right evaluation, right? Like, K-State does not have this turnaround without Coleman Hawkins playing at a high level, right? But also, by that same token, it's hard to watch Coleman Hawkins ball, man. Like, it's just hard to watch Coleman Hawkins play. He is not the most likable player. I'm not going to say he's not the most likable guy. I don't know him from a stop sign. But, like, his game is just – it's tough to watch. Like, he's flopping. He's taking bad shots. He's emotionally, like, body language-wise kind of – again, I'm taking an imprint off of one game. I'm not trying to say this is who he is overall as a player. But tonight, he was emotionally quite selfish. Like, it seemed like the Coleman Hawkins show wasn't on, and so he was just not – he didn't care, right? Like I said, whole team celebrating after a huge home victory against number 13 Arizona. What's Coleman Hawkins doing?
I didn't even see that, but
it was like one of the last. It was like one of the last B-roll shots they were throwing out before they went to whatever commercial they were going to send to. But yeah, like they showed some players. The one guy was screaming up in Caleb Love's face, and Coleman Hawkins just looked like he didn't. It looked like they lost. Like, that's how he looked. But yeah, man, the Coleman Hawkins show, I hope it gets canceled. I'm not trying to see another season of the Coleman Hawkins show. It's you need a laugh track because ain't nobody laughing. Ain't nothing to smile about, buddy. You know what I mean?
David puts here in the chat like that they got Coleman in August, and like who else are you going and getting at that point? That's fair. I think Lost Highway also makes a decent retort, which is maybe hold on to it. Save it up. Get a high school guy a big time high school dude that you're gonna pay a giant bag to. Like I would prefer that personally, but hey, I haven't watched every Kansas State game this season. A lot of my Coleman Hawkins takes have formulated from his Illinois days, watching him at Illinois, and this is when I started to feel this way about him because I would look at his stats and be like, why is this power forward shooting 40% from the field? But yeah, I mean, I felt like it was a good night from that perspective for your boy here. Obviously, Arizona takes the L, but I felt like the Coleman Hawkins takes were big W's.
Yeah, I was about to say Arizona takes an L, but all your takes were pretty much W's in this one. So, tough team, tough road environment. Coleman Hawkins is booty. The Damon trifecta just all hit.
You'll have to go back, but I'm pretty sure in that when we did that Big 12 rest of the way thing, I'm pretty sure I might have chalked up Kansas State as a loss on that one as well.
I think you did. I think you did.
That was prior to them being 1-6 in conference, but I think I was giving a lot of credit and credence to their home environment and how crazy it gets in there. And it was crazy in there. And to the point where like a backcourt violation is like the house is going to come down because Kansas State just passed it literally into the backcourt, and every person in the entire building somehow thinks that it was not a backcourt violation.
Yeah, I really thought.
But to be fair, that's the sign of a good home environment. Everybody just, even for lack of what actually happened on the court, them just getting on the refs at every turn. Like, you got Kansas State players stepping out of bounds too, Kevin, and the crowd is going ballistic. How could you call that? And you're like, well, probably because his foot was on the out of bounds line. Like, yeah. I don't know, but you gotta respect it to an extent. Like, I think McHale is a crazy environment, and it gets really ballistic in there when Arizona's like on a run and playing a good team. But there's kind of some qualifiers you have to go into with that. I never really see that at McHale, where it's like every call, the entire crowd is just on the refs constantly. You could call it annoying, but inherently it is an advantage. No doubt about it.
And I thought their crowd got a lot better as the game went on. I thought early the crowd was kind of okay. Also obviously with all due respect to their fans, I'm not saying it was a bad crowd. It was very full, very lively crowd. But yeah, no, it did feel like, the crowd really got warmed up as the game started to go on, and things started to get a little bit more intense from a time of game standpoint. How much time is left to the score of all that. And I thought K-State's crowd was good. I don't think it was the best crowd Arizona's faced all year, right? But there are some great crowds in the Big 12. So that's not saying that like it wasn't a good crowd, but Like I think that BYU crowd was pretty. That BYU crowd was pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think that one probably ranks one notch just above K-State, just for the consistency of the crowd from my memory of it. But yeah, and to David in the chat, KU is our last game of the season. So it's Iowa State, ASU, and then Kansas. And I'm so sorry I just swapped KU and K-State like that. Me and Damon hate when broadcasters are like, and the Arizona State Wildcats, like on ESPN or something, they always do that with their graphics or some guy saying that. So I do want to apologize, David. I did just say K-State instead of KU. So, yeah. But it was a good crowd, David. I think you're right on that.
I mean, listen, here's the differentiator there, Kevin. You said it and you immediately knew you messed up and you changed it. Yeah. These people are making graphics, full-scale production graphics, saying Arizona Wildcats with a pitchfork logo right next to, like, it's unbelievable. And
we're like Arizona State with the block A, and it's like, what?
Completely different scales. Like, it's way easier to just misspeak in a quick sentence than it is to, make a full-fledged graphic that is completely opposite of the truth. But yes, which we would never do. No. But that's why you tune into PHNX Sports and the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Maybe I should have just made a fake graphic and lied about the 3-point percentage, and maybe it would have made you feel better and made me feel better about this loss tonight, because 9% to 5% not only looked fake, it made me sick to my stomach. So, and I don't even got a stomach cold right now. I got a little head situation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was sick to my stomach with that, Damon.
David Perez puts here in the chat, 0 reason to lose that game. We agree, David. We talked about the game a little bit more in the early part of the show, and it was pretty inexcusable. That's one you can't lose. Arizona drops their first game in 7 here after a 6-game win streak against Kansas State, 73-70, and the Wildcats take on Houston, the best team in the conference, on Saturday. We will have you locked and loaded for a post-game show. Then we're going to have a regular scheduled 12 o'clock show tomorrow, so make sure you guys don't miss that. Kevin, we'll see about his status between now and then.
Game time decision. I think I'll probably be a game time decision. You know what I mean?
Game time decision for Kevin tomorrow. Choice. Yeah, certainly. But that whatever happens, we'll have you locked and loaded here at PHNX Sports with all your breaking news, anything. Follow us on social. Follow PHNX_Wildcats on Twitter for all of the information regarding Arizona athletics. Follow me at Damon Dog, that's DAWG, and follow Kevin at Kevo Post, that's KEVOPOSTS. Kevin, anything before we get out of here tonight?
Honestly, I appreciate everybody in the chat for tuning in tonight. It was a hell of a show. Despite
shout
the
out
loss.
David.
Yeah, shout out David. Shout out to all the K-State fans in the chat that did pop in. Even if you weren't chatting, if you ended up here, shout out to you. I wish nothing but the best for K-State unless we play again in the Big 12 tournament.
What's funny is Kevin's got, like, I think they're different people. Kevin got that dude saying, like, you're not worried about K-State, huh? In the chat. And then Kevin also got a dude on Twitter basically saying the exact same thing to him.
Different people.
I think you say you wish all the best for K-State.
I do.
I'm getting the vibe that you might be the biggest Kansas State hater, like, pretty much out there that isn't like a Kansas guy.
I mean, that's just not true.
That's what I'm on.
It's just not true. I'm a pretty benevolent sports fan. I really, K-State, I don't really like Coleman Hawkins or that housing kid, but not for any reason. Just he's something about him that just gave me bad vibes.
Oh, I started not liking him when he was one possession. Whoa, come on. And I'm just like, look at this guy. But to be fair, that's a dude. You love that dude when he's on your team. But when you're going up against him.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I honestly wish nothing the best of luck to K-State the rest of the way, like David said in the chat. But, this was a game that Arizona didn't have to have, but Arizona should have had when you're watching it. K-State's a great team. Arizona seems to be maybe a great team this year as well. I should say K-State's a really good team. But yeah, Damon, this was a disappointing game, disappointing outcome, but it's not the end of the world. Saturday is the Super Bowl. Forget Sunday. That game was trash. Saturday is the big game. Saturday, Arizona versus Houston. Saturday, we find out what Arizona's got left in the tank, really. So, yeah, I'm excited, Damon. I know you are too, so I'll let you break it down.
Yeah, we'll be previewing it all week long. Everyone, make sure you guys tune in for that. Make sure you guys tune into our live show tomorrow at noon. But until then, have a good night. Sleep well. Kevin, get some rest. Rest up. Get start feeling a little bit better, maybe chug some Pedialyte.
Yeah.
And peace. Bear down.
Go Cats.
We all silly like the mayor.